Spore, right.
Hands on.
So after the Spore event, which we will talk about later, we took a cab ride home back to Berkeley, Shawn and I. And that cab... Oh, wait. Who else was in the cab with us?
Cesar from Game Videos and the One Up Show.
That's right. In fact, that's how the conversation started, right? Because the three of us got into this cab. We had to call a cab at like 10:30 at night in Emeryville from the Amtrak station in Emeryville, train station. This cab comes, and the three of us get in there, and Cesar has his big camera.
The big, nice HD.
Right. Really nice video camera that he puts in the cabbie's front seat. And the first thing that the cab says is... what did he say? Like, are you guys cops or wait? What was it? He gave us a choice of two.
I don't know how well we can do the accent, but
Yeah.
he was an Arab guy.
Yeah,
he had a thick Arab accent. And he was like, "Are you police?" We're like, "No."
That's not a good way to start a conversation.
He had another choice though. He was taking a second guess with the video. I forget what it was.
Like, he thought we were like recording porno or something.
Yeah.
Well, those are the options.
It was
police
illicit,
or
no
porn
matter what.
Yeah, we were like,
mogul.
no, we're like a media company, you know.
Then we said media. Then it was something else ridiculous too. Or I don't know. It was weird. He thought we were. Why would we have an HD camera if we're police anyway? Like maybe detectives or something. But
Maybe he's only seen the show Cops.
Well, the reason
the only-
is because all the rest of what he said was police related, right? I mean,
he thought
that's
you were
why.
Chris Hansen and we were going to drive him over to like, Sally Susie's house.
Yeah, so you take it from here. Where'd it go from here?
Let's try to remember. Well, first off, he just starts. In general, it's not. I don't know. Some people like talkative cabbies.
Yeah.
Others don't. I'm in the party where I'd rather just like sit there and listen to whatever messed up music's going, and just enjoy the ride.
He was one of those talky cabbie guys. Yeah, he talked the whole way.
He started off with this like hot story of how he had witnessed a hit and run, and then he decided, while his vehicle wasn't struck, he decided that he was going to be like a vigilante, cab driving Punisher and chase the guy down. So
Because if he sees something wrong, he's the kind of guy that's got to do something.
yeah, dude. Which he emphasized over and over again.
over.
That was just, yeah. He had like a chorus to his story that he would repeat, and like a Chris Rock stand-up routine.
Yeah. Maybe some people don't do anything. I'm the kind of guy who's got to do something. I see something wrong, I'm going to fix it.
So he's describing this high-speed chase and, like pulling the handbrake and flipping 180s around intersections and shit and chasing a guy through a tunnel, eventually losing him, but then going back to the scene and calling the police. And a large piece of the vehicle's bumper was there, and it had the license plate on it or something.
Right. And understand that, like, the three of us are just sitting in the back seat, and nothing prompted this. It was like a complete one-sided conversation. He just starts telling us a story.
So then he's like, they ended up. I mean, we could throw the time lapse on this part of the story because it went on and on. But in the end result, they tracked the car back to like the house or something, and they knock on the door, and the police officer knocks on the door, and it's like some like quiet old guy in his slippers that answers, and it turns out it was his son, pulled the shenanigans, and then just slipped the cab driver, or thought he did, and then went back home. So we're like, okay, like that was the build up, and then he just again was emphasizing he couldn't witness a crime and not do something to prevent it, and then all of a sudden he's like, you know what? I would do anything for this country. Like, I will. There's nothing I wouldn't do for this country. And like, okay, well, that's cool. Like, we didn't question that, And then all of a sudden, he's like, "But I'm not a snitch." And then he starts saying, he's like, you know what? Then the police put. I don't know if it was like right after, but then he starts saying, he's like, one time, he's like, that's one thing. I got thrown in jail because. Okay, I'm fucking it all up. This is why it was so bizarre. Then he says, we're just commenting on him and on his good deeds, on his like upright.
Yeah, we're basically
citizenship.
just like humoring him. We're just, that's great.
And he's like, I work with the
justice
police.
sounds
I
good.
know all the police. And he's like, but one time they threw me in jail, and we're like, oh, well, why was that? They're all getting nervous and shit. I think it's a
Yeah,
crypt
now you're
keeper,
getting nervous.
We're like in a fucking horror movie, swing or something go tragically wrong. And then he's like, because I wouldn't talk, and we're like, that's weird. Jeff's like, I don't know of anyone that's got put in jail for not saying something. And then he's like, I don't snitch.
Yeah, I'm no snitch.
And he's like, I would do anything for this country, but I won't snitch. And then he it sounded like
it was like they were trying to turn him into being an informant against,
right?
Terrorists.
Yeah, he was like
turned into a whole
like
national
Iraq
security
and
thing, and he's no snitch. He loves his country, but he's no snitch.
So at that point, then we're starting to trickle off. Cesar's the first to get out, and then we're sitting there, and I know Jeff and I were both looking at each other like, shit, who's going to be the last one of this fucking cab tonight? And I know it was me because I lived the farthest away. And then we started pulling this maneuver where I was like, oh, well, Jeff, you're using your corporate card for this cab. Maybe you want to swing by my place first.
Yeah. And then the cabbie hears that and he goes, no, he can just pay and then I'll let you out after.
Yeah, dude. I was like,
yes.
Fuck, man. So then
see you, Shawn.
He's got another story after that, and then it's that he.
Oh God, yeah, that's.
He
right.
witnessed. He saved some guy from getting or some guy was getting stabbed.
A cop.
He pulled over and saved his life. Well,
cop.
Yeah, we found the cop part out later.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, and, so I couldn't let it happen. As if my fellow man, I couldn't let him happen. And we're like, wow, man, you got balls. For one, chasing another car after a hit and run in Oakland, I wouldn't fucking do that. I'm gonna be honest with you, Anthony. You live in Oakland too. Would you do that?
Hell no.
Fuck no. So we're like, you're one. As Duke Nukem would say, balls of steel. And then he's like, oh, yeah, and it was a police officer, too.
Yeah, it was a police officer who got stabbed, and this super cabbie here saved the stabbed policeman.
And he's got, so now he's got some,
maybe it all happened
with the police officer, and he'll stop in his store. He kept talking about his store, which is going to come into the story later. And then, so this is going on, and I'm just like, Jeff, you keep looking at me with this fucked up face, and I'm like, dude, the cab driver's looking in the rearview mirror every 2 seconds. I'm not going to trade liooks with you, eye rolling.
Yeah, I keep looking at Shawn
this guy is telling his story.
Can you believe this guy? Yeah, and then he called me on it at one point.
He was like, do I talk too much? That was weird because when you meet someone who's just a loon, that's one thing. But when they're aware that they're scaring you, and then they keep doing it,
bad news.
Yeah, he might have caught my look of what the hell's going on in this cab? Do I talk too much? Maybe I shouldn't talk so much.
And then he just started another story.
Yeah.
So eventually, you get out, and then you go to pay with your card, and he wasn't prepared for that, and he's like, "Well, can you? I'm gonna rub your card on a piece of paper." But it wasn't even blue paper or whatever. It was like a piece of. He was doing some old school. It was the Dr. Science show. Was that old guy's
crayon
name?
rubbings.
Yeah, this is basically where you take a quarter and rub a pencil over it in a piece of paper. He pulled that maneuver on it, and then he said it's going to show up to a fucking grocery store.
Yeah, it said it's I don't have my visa set up for this cab, so it's going to go to my store. So when you get your bill, it's going to say something grocery store.
A&G grocery.
A&G grocery store.
All right, that's great.
Which no doubt is some kind of terrorist front. Probably on some most wanted list now.
Oh, dude.
Anyway, it was just a weird end to the Spore event.
And then,
we just wanted to go home.
I was actually, that where you're like, am I just being an idiot? Dude, this guy's just chilling. He's just he's got good stories, fucking storyteller, and I can appreciate that. But it would actually cross my mind. When we were going, I made sure I didn't have my seatbelt on and the door was unlocked in case I had to kick it open and pull a rolling fucking escape, like some GTA shit, But he just kept talking about his store because I asked him, I was like, man, do you got to go to your store when you get off this shift tonight? And then he was just saying how his brother runs the store mainly, and he goes in there now and then. And he let me out. And I was like, have a good night. Oh, and then he kept giving me tons of his cards, telling him anytime I need a cab ride, I need to call him.
Yeah, we'll be sure.
And I was like, I was thinking about it after I'm still alive. I'll do it again.
And if you got stabbed, he'd be a good guy to have around.
That's no joke, man.
Yeah.
I think everyone's had that cab ride before.
Yeah, he definitely was that cab ride. And it was just one of those, I've had those many times before. And, we were at that event. It was 10 o'clock at night. It was a weekday. And I was just like, oh, no. It's just going to be one of those rides. Yeah. And then it was. Can't you just drive? Shit.
So that was coming back from Spore.
Yeah. So now we can talk about Spore.